And welcome back to the Other 40s Fitness Podcast. My name's Tristan Lowe, and today I've got with me my guest,
Poppy Pearson.
Poppy Pearson. All right. The thumbnail that you've seen is us holding up these spherical objects. I'm holding a slam ball, a 5 kilo, 11 pound slam ball, which we use in personal training. And Poppy's got what?
I've got a netball, which I use in my sport.
Okay. All right. So Poppy's a netball player, and I've been training Poppy, strength training, off season for the past 2 to 3 months, and I thought to bring Poppy in to talk about her chosen sport, being netball. Pleased to meet you, Poppy.
Nice to meet you.
All right. What's the brand of that ball then?
Gilbert. So
Gilbert.
It's one of the main sponsors of England Netball.
Okay, England netball.
Yeah.
Okay, so netball wasn't in the Olympic Games this year, though, was it?
No, so it's not an Olympic sport.
You mentioned in one of our sessions they're going to bring it in the future into Olympics. Which one's that?
Potentially in the 2032 one in Australia.
Oh, okay. Brisbane.
In Brisbane, yeah.
All right, so check where you heard it first. Not the next Olympic Games in Los Angeles, which is the 2028, but Poppy's suggested it could be in the 2032 Olympic Games in Brisbane, Australia, and they might be bringing netball in. And Gilbert is the sponsor of women's netball. Okay. All right, what's your age?
I'm 17.
Okay, so do you play for the under-17s or the under-18s or what?
I play for Loughborough Lightning's under-19s team.
Loughborough Lightnings. Okay. Where are they in Loughborough? Is it a health club?
Loughborough University.
All right, okay. Some of the things that I'm asking Poppy today, I've already got an idea of because we've had our conversations during training. Just to give our viewers and listeners, I trained Poppy's mum last year, Claire. You're from Horncastle, born and bred?
Yeah.
So Horncastle's in Lincolnshire?
Yeah.
So you're a Lincolnshire lass?
Yeah.
Of some description from Horncastle. How did you end up at Loughborough University playing netball?
I started out playing with my local team in Louth.
Yeah.
And then got into the county, playing for Lincolnshire, under 13s, under 15s, and then trialling for under 15 hubs, so for younger stages, building your way up through the Netball Super League pathway.
Yeah. Super League pathway. That's what they call it, yeah.
You've got the Netball Performance League, which is part of under 15s, under 17s, under 19s, under 21s, and then the Super League team.
Yeah.
So I got into the hubs, which is below the pathway.
Mm-hmm.
Worked myself into the under 15s performance squads. So I went to school games in Loughborough.
Yeah.
And then then last year.
That's middle school, under 15s.
Under 15s, yeah.
Yeah.
So and then I got into under 17s 2 seasons ago, and then last year was in under 19s.
Okay. Okay, so you've worked your way up. You've gone through the proper, for want of a better term, the grassroots way of doing it, playing for school, playing for local clubs. You've worked your way through the teens. You're now under 19s, yeah?
Yeah.
So am I right in saying then, or just guessing, that you've been a 17-year-old, when are you 18? What year? This year or next year?
This year.
Okay, so you're going to be, are there 19-year-olds in the under 19s, or do they have to be 18 or younger?
No, so there are 19-year-olds, but it goes on when your birthday is.
Okay.
So as mine's in October, I'm one of the older ones.
Yeah.
So currently I'm the youngest because I only had 1 year at under 17s.
Yeah.
So the age groups are split. So if your birthday is between September to the end of December, your class is the older age group.
Okay.
So I only have 2 years in under 19s, whereas some people have their birthday January to August.
Yeah.
They are classed as the younger ones, so they get an extra year.
Gotcha.
Within the age groups.
Right, okay. So there's a possibility then that if not this year, then next year, you could be playing with a woman in the group of young women that are 18 to 19, but if that young woman could be like 19 and a half.
Yeah, so I currently this season I've been playing with people in their first year of uni.
Yeah.
Which are then technically 2 years older than me.
Yeah.
So when I go off to uni this time next year, rather than staying in under 19s, I'll move into under 21s.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that is because if you're 17 now and your game, your netball skills and game are still developing, as your physical capability is developing, not just for netball but for daily function as well. If you're playing someone who's a year and change older than you, that's actually quite a lot at such a young age. If someone who's in sport is 31 and someone else is 32, and it could be the same amount of months between them as there's between you and one of the other women at the netball, but it's different because of when that is. You know, a woman of 19 and a half, say 19 months and 19 years and 5 or 6 months, and a young woman of 17 and a half, nearly 18, it's not so much the year, it's when it is in your body's developing, how the body develops and in skills in the game, but also develops for its normal physicality. Because what we see a lot in men's sports is that an 17-year-old young man, still a teenager, if he's playing at professional football, okay, and he's playing with a guy who's 19, 20, 21, there are vast differences in terms of strength, speed, power. This is separately from the actual technical sport skills of the sport. Now, okay, with that being said, are you seeing the girls that are 18 or 19 when you're training and playing? Is there a physicality difference between them and you?
Yeah, definitely. That's
like what?
Going into 19s this year, knowing that everyone's a lot taller, everyone's a lot stronger.
Taller than you?
Yeah.
And what's your height?
I'm about 5'11", 5'11".
5'11", and you're only 17. You could grow to be 6 foot or 6'1", and you might not want to or need to, but you could do.
Yeah.
You might have another growth spurt. So you're getting women that are 6 foot?
Yeah, and above. So it's definitely playing, like coming up this season into the age group, it was knowing that I needed to increase my physicality on court, be a lot stronger to then be able to play against that type of play and physicality, to then be able to adapt to it.
Where do you actually see the difference? Let's take away the knowledge and the skills of playing netball. We're just talking anatomy and physiology. Okay, they're taller. Okay, are they broader? Have they got more visible muscle? What other differences are there?
Yeah, taller, definitely got a lot more visible muscle because also as they're older, they go to university, so there are set specific plans of you've got the support of the strength and conditioning programs and all of that around them every single day.
Yeah.
So then it's going, there's only being 17, it's trying to build that around myself without having certain specific support to do that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I suppose that's possibly why your mum Claire suggested you come to our centre. Just to give our viewers, in training Poppy, we've been focusing on the fundamental compound lifts of exercises, but equally with a mindset of Poppy's body still growing, still developing, and it wants to grow and develop for just normal daily function, but also for actually to improve your game, your game now. And what's interesting is I've worked with Poppy on plyometric exercises, which Poppy's been quite good at, but at the moment you've got a small injury which you came to us with. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I currently have like a niggle in my knee, so I think it's to do with my patella tendon.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a pain when I'm playing because it is can be painful later on.
Yeah, I've had it myself when I was 31 in basketball. I had patella tendonitis. I thought it was the end of the world at the time because it really affected me the following season. You go back to pre-season training. I think a lot of it came from me jumping off one leg too often, more than jumping off both legs underneath the net. You know, when you're running towards the rim or the backboard in basketball and you make a layup, generally you come off the right hand and right-handed player, so the ball would be released out of my right hand, but I'd take off with the left leg for balance. If you're working underneath the net and playing directly underneath the net, as in banging around what they say in the paint, you generally plant both feet and move around on both feet and jump up with both legs. But running up and down, the momentum, the mechanics of it mean that you ordinarily, and I spent too many years doing that, but also playing off-season games on concrete. Do netball players play off-season on anything other than the court, the indoor sprung wooden floor?
Well, it depends. So depending on which sort of level you're at, depends if you play indoors or whether you play outdoors on concrete courts. So there's this local team that I play with in Grimsby, Ladies Social League, which is outside on courts.
Right.
So I am quite careful when I do go out there going, can't get injured, because it seems to be more likely that I will do that than being on an indoor court. But most of the time for Loughborough or anything like that, it is inside. But tournaments, when we do like pre-season tournaments, that's usually outside.
Okay. That's interesting, that, because I just didn't know that. I had no idea that women that play netball would play off-season games, or maybe even mid-season games, but certainly off-season games on concrete. And I would advise someone as a trainer and a sports massage therapist to minimise the time on concrete. There's zero give. Okay, that's all the force of your body going into the ground and no give coming back. The best thing is a sprung wooden floor, or if not a wooden floor, or those kind of astroturf, or those like, almost like an indoor tennis court, that kind of, because it could be the difference between getting a foot, ankle, knee, hip injury or not. But I would minimise the time. I think if I was outdoors playing on concrete, that would be for practicing shooting. But the actually explosive moves, running up and down the court, twisting and turning on concrete, remember, there's zero give. All that shock, compound, that jolt, that shock, that force is running up the tibia and the fibula, running down the thigh, the femur, and the meeting point is the knee. Yeah. I've got achy knees myself at the moment. It's from a lifetime of sports, you know. So I go and have once a month. I'll see my physiotherapist just to actually relieve some of the pain in my knees and get the cross friction work done to relieve them. All right, let's get away from sports injuries. So with the plyometric training that you've done here, we've used TRX, we've used plyo boxes, we've used rip training bars, resistance bands, and what I've tried to do is to train Poppy, but also give you an idea of educating how to train yourself, which is why we used Poppy's own mobile phone to video some of your exercises for you as well. So you got quite a lot. I think we did dumbbells, kettlebells, resistance bands, barbells, plyometric work, stretching, core stability. There's quite a lot that went into it. Which was your favourite, the plyometric training or the actual strength training, if you had to?
I really enjoy strength training.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know, I just feel like when you're like lifting weights, I find that so much more enjoyable than like all the repeated like plyometric moves and things like that.
Yeah, there's it's interesting how with the women that I've trained from your age right up to women in their late 60s, I've lost count how many women enjoy the benefits, the benefits of strength training. Now that could be strength with a resistance band or a TRX, but it could also be with dumbbells and kettlebells and moving up to the squat rack and the barbells and the plates. And recently we put the barbells into your program, but we had to work around Poppy's body still growing and work around the fact that you're going back to netball at that level. Okay, what's the process when you start back netball at Loughborough University? Do they do the fitness training or is it ball skills or both?
It's usually both, yeah. So we'll go through sets of trials at the start of each season, and then it will mostly be fitness, ball skills for the first few sessions.
Yeah.
And then knowing, so benchmark where we are at the minute, and then we'll go through all that, and then we'll lead on to more tactical and game situations.
Gotcha. Okay. How many people on the court in play time, in the actual playing time? How long is a netball game?
60 minutes.
Is it two half an hour, two split?
4 minutes, 4 lots to 15 minutes.
Oh, so you've got 4 quarters then, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right, and how many players on the court?
7 on each team.
Okay, is that the same overseas as well? Wherever you go, it's 7?
Yeah.
Okay, right. What's the rotations like? I mean, does the coach, have they got a rotation where they've got 3 girls on the bench or what? Or?
Yeah, so you can have up to a squad of 12, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Squad of 12, so you'll have 7 playing and then 5 on the bench.
Gotcha, okay.
Which then, depending on the game, like how close it is, that kind of thing, depends on whether the coach will make any changes or anything needs impact.
Right, okay. Is there a tip-off in the middle, or does the referee drop the ball, and how does it start? Like in basketball, the referee stands in the middle, throws the ball up in between, and you get the 2 tallest players generally that will tip for the ball. Yeah,
so it's a toss-up at the beginning of the game, like either usually a coin, and whoever wins that, it's usually the captains, then whoever wins that, then their team centre will either choose, they can have the first centre pass, or they can decide which end they want to shoot at.
Interesting, so it's not the same as basketball then?
No.
Where they'll literally just throw the ball in the middle. Okay, and so, your team, what they call Loughborough Lightning.
Yeah.
Right, your team, you've won the coin toss, yeah, and you choose the end that you want to play from, or is that already predetermined?
So if you decide you want the first centre pass, the opposing team then decides which direction they want to shoot first.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Or vice versa. If you go, they can have the centre pass.
Yeah.
Then you choose which side.
And that ball is passed out from the centre of the court.
Yeah.
Not from the side or the end or.
No, there's the centre circle in the middle of the court that then starts each
Gotcha.
game.
Okay. Right now, when you start the game, are all 7 players on either side? They have to stand their side of the line, or can you stand anywhere in the court?
No. So there are specific sections of the court that only specific players are allowed in.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So the goalkeeper and goal shooter are only allowed.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goalkeeper and goal shooter only allowed in the shooting third.
Gotcha.
On either side of the team for both opposing teams.
Yeah.
And then you have the wing defence and wing defence and wing attack.
Okay.
Which are allowed in the centre third, and if it's wing attack, they're attacking third, but you can't go in the shooting circle.
Right. Okay.
And then the goal attack, goal defence can go in the shooting circle and in the shooting third and in the middle third.
Does that run throughout the rest of the game? It can't. Is that just for centre pass, or does that structure, that zoning, does that stay throughout the rest of the game then?
Yeah, so they can only go in these specific areas.
Right.
But yeah, for a centre pass, everyone has to be behind like the third line.
Gotcha.
Before the game can start.
Right. Okay. Who shoots the ball then? Is it just
the goal shooter and the goal attack can shoot?
So no one else can. Well, I tell you, I'm surprised by that then. So that is a surprise to me. That I thought that anyone can shoot if you've got the ball and you're in a good position. Then, right. So are there drills that are just for you? What's your position again?
Goal shooter, goal attack.
Okay, so you have lots of shooting drills.
Yeah.
There's no backboard in netball.
No.
It has to literally go up and go in. Yeah, you can't rely on rebounds or anything like that. Right. So only 2 people on the court out of 7 on both sides. Then a total of 4 can take a shot.
Yeah.
So what do the others do then? What do they do? Wait for the ball to get to them and pass it somewhere else, or what?
Yeah. So the wing attack centre's job more to bring the ball through the court to the shooters.
Yeah.
And then you have your wing defence, goalkeeper, and then trying to defend to then make an intercept or cause an error to then bring the ball through to their attackers.
Interesting. And when you say goalkeeper, right, they are essentially the defence at the back.
Yeah.
Is that ordinarily the tallest girl on the team, or I don't know?
Potentially.
Okay.
So potentially, usually the goal shooter or goalkeeper are the tallest.
Yeah.
But not always.
Okay.
You can have a really tall centre. Yeah. That's really athletic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just depends.
All right. Okay. Well, that's news to me. I bet that's news to quite a lot of our viewers as well. That there are only 2 people on the court. That's like in football. Anyone, even a goalkeeper, can score a goal. Right, how many points for what do you call it? A net, a basket, what?
A goal.
You call it a goal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, how many points for a goal?
1.
Okay, are there bonus points or penalty points that you can receive or give away?
No.
All right, so if you make a foul, if Poppy fouls Shelley on the other team, what happens then?
So there'll be a penalty pass.
Yeah.
Where you'll have to stand by their sides and you'll be out of play.
Yeah.
And then the game goes from that point on.
Right, so there's no free throws. There's not like a line like in basketball. Okay, so I've learned something else then. This is interesting. Good. Just to be clear, I had no idea. I've not even researched it because I wanted to hear it from you because it's what you do. All right then. Okay, what's the most sought after position? If there was 2 16, 15-year-old girls that wanted to learn netball and get to the level that you've got to, and they could pick any position on the court, what's the most sought after position?
Probably goal attack. Everyone always says goal attack is the glory position.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to shoot the goals, but also be involved with the game.
Yeah. That's like a striker.
Yeah.
In the Premier League or in football, yeah. Or maybe even a point guard in the NBA in basketball, because point guards generally have got the best handling skills. They're the floor general. They bring the ball up from the back. A point guard is the back of the court. A centre in basketball is the front of the court. Centres are normally anything between usually around 6'10" to about 7'4" in professional men's basketball. They're the tallest and heaviest. Whereas the most glamorous position in basketball is normally the shooting guard or the forwards, because they're the ones that are normally about 6'5" to 6'9". So they're tall, long arms, big hands and feet, but they're very powerful, athletic. They're not the tallest on the court, they're not the heaviest, but they're not the smallest either. So if Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, whereas LeBron James is a power forward build in his size and his muscularity, but he can also bring the ball up like a point guard. But generally the best shooters in basketball are ordinary point guards. They've got the best eye. They're normally anything between 6 foot and 6'4". They're the smallest players on the court. But the ball, they can get the ball to the ground. It's hard to get a body when you're 7 foot on someone that's only 6 foot or 6'4". It's hard to get the ball off them because they're so close to the ground in comparison. That being said, what's the tallest position that you've played against or on your team in netball?
Yeah, it's usually goalkeepers that are around 6 foot, 6'1".
Wow,
6'2".
crikey! And they could be 19 and 6'1", 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right then. Tell me about so if there's no free throws, there's no penalty scores. You have to take it out of bounds and pass it in. Right. What if you get to the full 60 minutes, you're 4-15, and you're level on points?
It depends what competitions it's in.
Okay.
So if it's in just a normal league, so our usual Netball Performance League for Loughborough, if it's during the normal season, then you get 1 point each in the table. If it's a tournament, then you have extra time. So it goes extra time, usually I think 8 minutes each way, depending on what the specific rules are for the different tournaments.
Is that because you've got to have a winner who goes through to the next round?
Yeah.
Yeah, because is it a day tournament or a weekend or what?
Yeah, something like usually like the Netball Performance League tournament that we had a few months ago. That was over 3 days.
All right, how did you do in that?
We came champions.
Oh, you won it?
Yeah.
Did you get a trophy or what?
Yeah, so we got all medals and then the trophy for the team.
For the team, yeah, and you keep that for a year, the trophy.
Yeah, I think they keep it back in Loughborough University.
Right, and then the medals. What are those pin ones or ones that got like a?
Yeah, go over your head.
Which do you prefer?
Yeah, over your head.
Yeah, it seems more like you're getting more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to get medals like that in martial arts and whatnot, and I used to be so excited about this bronze, silver. I always won silver or bronze. I don't think I ever won a gold, but in martial arts I'd have these things and you'd be so proud of them. I used to put them up when I was a teenager. I put them up on the bedroom wall and you hang them and have photos taken with them. I think now they're in a box somewhere in England, I don't know. But what about you? Where'd you put yours?
Mine are on my wall, where I've got like this bookshelf with all my trophies and everything.
Superb, yeah. It's exciting, isn't it? You know, like people like shiny things.
Yeah.
You know, not just iPhones and mobile phones, but medals for sport. You know, have you got the balance? What phone do you use? Have you got a smartphone?
Yeah.
What you got?
iPhone 11.
Oh, of course, because we use it in your training sessions. Yeah. Okay, so. You know, normal 17-year-old young woman, you like to go out, enjoy yourself, study, work hard. You got your iPhone 11, no product placement here. We don't support any particular brand or product. But also, you like the shiny things of winning medals, which means you've done well as a team. You're part of a team. But also, there's the individual accolade. Now, that being said, are there medals and trophies or awards of some description that are given out to an individual?
Yeah, so
example.
At the tournament for each age group there's a player of the tournament.
Okay.
So a girl from our team this season won it for the under-19s.
Striker, goal attack?
No, she was a centre.
Okay, yeah.
Middle of the court.
Okay. What was the criteria then? How did she win it?
There's like selectors there from England Netball that come and watch. Whether it's to do with them, I'm not 100% sure. Or to do with her stats. She was just played so well over the weekend.
Yeah, all right then, okay. And now this is going to be quite a tricky question as well, and because I'd like to know as an individual, and I'd like our viewers to know, has there ever been, don't name any names, has there ever been any form of nepotism where a coach, the leader or an organiser of a team has put their daughter into a team when, if not you think, then someone else thinks or vocalises that player shouldn't be on that team? It's because her dad or her mum or her uncle or auntie or something like that organises the team, pays for the team sponsors, is part of a board in some way. Has that ever happened? Or don't name any names if it has. You tell me.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
So depending on like whether it's your local league, there's always something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say through like the Netball Performance League that has any effect on it.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously if you are with a team, you know a team for however many years, then it's are you more likely to get into a certain team than somebody moving from a different franchise?
Okay.
Well, potentially, but
Yeah.
that's not always the case.
Yeah. All right. The reason I asked that is because I had a professional footballer work for me years ago in our centre. She was she did the personal training, but she also played football, and she told me that we're talking. The conversation would have been about 8-9 years ago, and she told me that does happen in women's football, where the other girls on the team, it would be blatantly obvious that there's a player that should not be on the team, not necessarily part of the team or on the side as a substitute. This is women's football, soccer, and she told me that it was blatantly obvious at points where it actually created and that wasn't at. I can understand it's local level, like your village, your town, young children maybe, because everyone wants to be a winner, but I wouldn't want to hear that happens at a level that you're at or above. It should always be on it should be on like a meritocracy. It should be, and not nepotism. It should be, is Jane, is Kelly, is Shelley, is Poppy good enough to be on the team for what they can do as a team member, an individual, not is she related to this person who does the selection. Okay, it's not out of the question that can actually give rise all the way through to paid professional work as well. I've heard about that in cycling. You see it a lot in combat sports, boxing, where a boxer's son will be pushed through the ranks on TV and whatnot, and you think, well, there's other boxers that are better than him, but it's because the boxers come from a famous family of fighting, or their dad. And actually it's good for business as well, because people recognise a name or something like that. In my when I was a teenager working in West London, I worked at the BBC straight out of school for 3 years, and there was a woman in my building. She'd have been, at the time I was 17, and she'd have probably been mid-20s, and she played netball, she played hockey in the Olympic Games. I think she went to the 1988 Olympic Games, which was in Seoul in South Korea. And I remember her, she used to be in the office sometimes complaining to other players on the phone, because she worked during the day. And I don't remember the conversation because it was so long ago, but I do remember her sort of having those conversations with people on a lunch break on the phone. And don't forget, in those days, Poppy, there's no mobile phones. So she'd be sat 6 feet away from me on her desk and talking about, oh, so-and-so's made it to the team, there's no way. And it kind of stuck with me. I just don't remember the exact detail, but okay. All right then, so the reverse now, okay? What the exact reverse of that? Why does a team player, a 17-year-old that's playing in the under 18s or under 19s, get cut from the team?
Depending on if there's other players coming in that might have higher level of gameplay, or depending on the team and what style of play they want to play, they might not fit into what they're wanting, or equally, some people might not be committed or put 100% into everything, so then that's a conversation of, are there other people that deserve a place in this team?
Gotcha. Because committed, there's ambiguity there. What's committed? What is someone who's not committed to such a degree they get cut?
Kind of making sure that you're at every training session, available for selection when it's selection weeks, but also being accountable and doing your strength and conditioning programs at home, and making sure you're staying on top of everything like that. Yeah,
the best ability is availability. Well, that's not. I've learned that myself. Whether that be in sport, whether that be in music, in employment, whether that be in the entertainment industry, the best ability is availability. But on the same footing though, there's no point being available all the time, every day, every week, if you're no good.
Yeah.
There's a threshold to everything, We want someone to be available to play for the netball team, but not if she's no good. Doesn't matter if she can be outside the front door at 6 a.m. saluting the flag and whatnot. If you're no good, you're no good.
Yeah.
So a coach should have the wherewithal, the self-awareness, but also the actual discipline and foresight to say to someone equally, right then, Shelley, right Tracy, right whoever, you're always available, but which is great, but you're not good enough. Maybe not those words. I've got no skin in the game, so I can say it how I want. Yeah, okay. Right, have you ever been cut from a team?
No, but I've not been selected for certain games.
Okay.
So I've been part of the team and then not been selected. But it's then, I think that was back in like under 15 county.
Yeah.
And then it's knowing, right, why wasn't I selected? Right, so I didn't do that in that training session. I didn't do that. And then ever since I've been like, right, got to put 100% into every single thing to then have the opportunities to then be selected.
Gotcha. In the meantime though, you're studying as well. And you study where?
I study at LSST.
Okay, in Lincoln. Yeah, okay. What are you majoring in? What are you studying in?
I'm studying at A-level product design, biology and sports.
Wow. Product design, biology and sports. What does that look like if you actually end up working in an environment where all three of those are put together? Because biology, what, marine biology?
Just like, it's more, a bit of everything really. So you've got human biology, then you've got all your plants, everything.
Gotcha.
What makes up.
Okay, so if you're working in biology, let's say human biology then, so you could work in a lab, in a testing laboratory, you could work out in the field, you could work in the human performance sector, sports as well. So let's look at it. So you understand the biology of the body, okay, how it's developed, how it works, what it can and what it can't do. You've then got the sporting aspect of it, so you could work with an athlete or professional athletes or amateur athletes, teaching, training, or part of the biomechanics testing. And what was the other subject?
Product design.
Product design. So you could end up designing something at the early stage, a product which helps an athlete increase their performance. Okay. 10 years from now, if you do that, I gave you the idea. I want 1%. If you become a millionaire or a billionaire from doing that, and your product goes all around the world, I'll take 1%. Yeah. Just kidding, by the way. All right then. Okay, so we've looked at, if not necessarily cut from a team, but just taken off, and you've understood, you've accepted and understood what goes into mitigating that, or at least ensuring there's less chance of that happening in the future. Okay, why would you get cut from a team next year or the year after? Because you said you're committed. Yeah. You're available. What's left?
Probably it's making sure that you're up to the right standard of play for the age group, for the team that you're wanting to play against, and making sure you've got the strength, not less like the talent, but also like the commitment to be able to put in the work behind the scenes to improve your performance, your talent.
Okay. Talent. I think talent will get you somewhere. Will get us somewhere. But talent and commitment and availability. Okay, right. How often does the ball go on the floor? Because if I remember rightly, when I was at school, or on the rare occasion I've seen, you pass the ball to your teammate, and at any point, do they bounce the ball on the floor, or can it not touch the floor unless you drop it?
You can do a bounce pass.
Gotcha. Okay.
So as long as there's a rule called replay ball in netball, so you can't bounce the ball and catch it again.
Okay. What? Who can't? You can't bounce it and catch it yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could drop it.
Yeah.
But then if you were deemed to be in control of the ball when you dropped it and then caught it again, it'd be the opponent's ball.
Gotcha.
But if you dropped it and another teammate picked it up, then that was fine.
Gotcha. Okay. That's the actual ball. That's what you play with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pass me that. Let's look at that. It feels so light. I can tell you, it feels almost like it's too light to shoot. It feels like it will blow away. Does the? Oh, you're playing indoors then, aren't you?
Yeah. So it's you depending on like different levels. You have match balls and a training ball. Yeah. So that is technically it was a match ball, but because I've used it so much, all the grips gone off it.
Yeah.
But all the match balls that we use I feel like they are heavier.
Okay.
But it's more grip rather than this. It's not got a lot of grip left on it.
Yeah, so it's probably if you weighed it under like a real electronic set of scales, it's probably like a gram heavier or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, is it always white, the ball?
No, so it comes in a range of colours, and there's like Gilbert's one of the main England netball sponsors, but there's loads of different
in the NBA, the balls, the basketball and basketball they've always got that sort of orangey tan colour. But what I've seen, I think when they play in FIBA rules or sometimes overseas rules, they have balls, basketball that's like a different colour. Sometimes, and I always think it looks weird. I think it's like a demonstration ball or a fun ball. I always think of the basketball as that kind of orangey, tanny, mustardy colour. So, all right then. What equipment-wise, footwear? We wear basketball shoes. What do women that play netball wear?
Yeah, so we wear netball shoes.
What do they look like? Who's
trainers.
the brand?
So you've got Asics.
Okay.
Or you've got Mizuno and Nike are starting to build in some more netball shoes.
Right.
But recently you've got more people wanting to wear basketball trainers.
Yeah. Why is that?
Usually because they feel it's more supported around the ankles.
Yeah.
But then I know there's been quite a few like bits of research going into that actually it's a basketball shoe, so it's designed for people to play basketball,
Gotcha.
not for netball.
Right.
So although it might have like more support in the ankles,
Yeah.
the rest of the shoe might not be as supportive.
Gotcha.
So I know some of my friends really like the basketball shoes.
Yeah.
They're higher, they feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
But then
Cost more as well.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I know that I wear Asics trainers.
Yeah.
That they're really supportive.
Yeah.
These are old pair that I used to wear.
Poppy's wearing Asics now, or Asics now. Okay, is that actually a netball shoe?
Yeah.
Okay, that was like a pair of trainers to me. That looks like something you might wear for squash or badminton, but okay, that's specifically for netball.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, so hey, you know what? Product design. You might design a hybrid shoe that's like a basketball shoe, like a netball shoe, somewhere in the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
The truth often lies somewhere in the middle, and you make that shoe, and your name then might be called the Poppy Trainer or something like that. My 1%, remember, when you get rich. Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay. What is that you know of? What's a factor that stops young women, girls and women playing netball other than injury?
Probably you've got your different factors of like also having like your time to be able to do things like play sports.
Yeah.
Like now there's a lot more role models on the telly.
Yeah.
So potentially, I don't know, like 20, 30 years ago, there wasn't as many people playing netball.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think as the membership renews this year for England netball, is the most people that have spectated but also played netball recently. So which is really good. See it keep increasing. But yeah.
Okay, I asked that, and because I think there's a possibility. Let's just say we're going to call her Lisa. Lisa gets to 19, and she's good enough, talented enough, commitment, availability, all those things you mentioned. There's a possibility that something else comes into a play, either foreseen or unforeseen, but not out of the question. That an outside force comes into play that's not one of those things that stops Lisa, hypothetical name, from continuing her career in netball, whether it be for fun or whether it becomes as a profession. Mm-hmm. Okay, and this is what I'm thinking of, other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, not injuries. We're not talking about injuries. We're not talking about commitment, availability, skill, talent, and all that, which are all really important factors. But sometimes other people, and it can come from someone who you know personally, or someone that you don't know, not you, but there's someone in the future that comes into our lives, that they either talk us out of it, what's all this netball, what's all this basketball, what's all this golf that you do, or it could be subconscious, it could be drip fed from another person who you don't ever meet, and that is social media and TV and advertising. Because look, a lot of young women your age want to Netflix and chill and watch the Kardashians and watch Love Island. I'm just thinking those things at your age bracket. Is that do you watch all those things?
Not really, but people
I'll ask your mum.
do.
I'll ask your mum. They do.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know this, yeah? So Love Island, Celebrity Jungle,
Oh yeah.
Britain's Got Talent, what's it called? Pop Idol, Bone Idol, whatever it's called. I don't know. All those Kardashians, all that kind of reality show TV stuff. That kind of thing can get in the way. The next thing that can get in the way is when some boys play football, okay, and they're good at it and it goes in, something comes in. We're not talking about injury, commitment, girls. Mm-hmm. Girls come into the play and the boy's got a new girlfriend and he misses training on Sunday morning because he's been out with his girlfriend on Saturday night too late. That can happen the other way as well. Girls can meet boys and start dating boys, and then eventually they think, oh, hang on, I'm missed training because she's out with a new boyfriend that night or the night before, or she's booked a holiday with him because it's exciting, and I fully understand that, but hang on, you should have been at pre-selection training. That is not out of the question, Poppy. That does actually happen. Mm-hmm. And some people think that's not going to happen to me because I'd see it coming, or I'd always put things to block that from happening. We're human. When I was 22 to the age of 27, maybe 28. I had a girlfriend. I was dating a girl. I was with her for nearly 5 years. She was a professional dancer, danced all around the world. In fact, I actually went overseas with her once or twice to watch her perform. She danced in Paris and she danced in South Korea, and I went to both of those countries when I was probably in my mid to late 20s with her, and she was professional at quite a high level. And of course, I wanted at that time, I was thinking, okay, by the time I'm 30, 31, I wanted to be married and have children with this woman, but she wanted a career. And at the time, I went, oh no, this ain't fair and whatnot, but now I understand it as an old man of 53. Some people, they want to put their careers first. If they've got a career that they're actually paid for, their theory is it should come before everything else. But there's a balance as well. There's a balance, and in our time, time is something, Poppy, we can't get back. I can remember being your age, 17, thinking I go to work Monday to Friday, do my sports, and me and my pals, we'd go nightclubbing in London because we all lived in London, and it's the best place in the world at the time. And remember, there was no social media then. iPhones and mobile phones had not even been invented. So we didn't have the distraction of social media. We didn't have the distraction of the internet. We didn't have the distraction of mobile phones. It actually not even been invented when I was 17. The internet might have been invented in terms of a thought process. So, but you've got all those distractions now and the distractions of other people. So I would always say, okay, be mindful of, and it doesn't have to be a new boyfriend, it could be a family member, it could be a work colleague, it could be a next door neighbour. There's always something that can take you out of it and distract you from your plan. If you've got a plan and you've set something as a goal, see it through. And everyone around you should be on board with that. Okay, they should, as a trainer, I'll take people on as a personal trainer, and I'll say to them in consultation, usually if it's weight loss, like we get some people that come in that are unhealthily overweight, they've got to lose weight. And I'll say, always be mindful of a distraction of your goal. Right, Dave, right, John, right, Jill. You're 17 stone, you should be, or you want to be 13 stone or 14 stone. Make a plan of action, write it down, we work together, and be mindful, not walk around looking for, but just be always aware of a distraction that comes in. And the distraction can sometimes come from someone who you thought was on board with your plan or action, but actually people change and they change their ideas. A distraction can come from you geographically moving. Now, brings me to my next point. You're going to go to university. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so I'm wanting to go and study physiotherapy.
Yeah, superb.
And then, currently my top 3 universities are Manchester Metropolitan, University of Nottingham and Leeds Beckett.
Okay, I've actually had trainers and therapists that have come from Leeds Beckett that have worked for me, and they've always been good. I've learned some stuff from them, even though they're only in their early 20s. They've got the degree, they've come in with new, fresh ideas, and I always look at it and think, that's pretty cool, got some new, fresh ideas. All right, have you got one in mind? Don't say it. Have you got one in mind that if you could press a button now and you're there next year, which one would it, have you got one? But don't say it, just in case.
Potentially,
okay.
But I'm not 100% certain yet.
All right then. I'll throw a guess. So it's Manchester, Nottingham, or what was the other one? Leeds. All right, blink if it's a yes. All right, okay, so I've got one in mind. Is it the city that you're interested in, and what the city's got to offer on top of the university? Yeah,
so I felt like my main thing was the course.
Yeah.
So knowing what that was like, the support around my teaching and what the lectures and different things were like.
Yeah.
Then my second thought was netball.
Yeah.
So what's there around everything, and then it's the location of where it is.
That's I can tell you, that's a really good process of way of looking at it. What am I going to learn? Okay, first. Okay, and how they do it, what the subject is, and how they structure it. Second thing, can I continue with netball at the level I'm at in this area? And the third, what the city's got to give. Now, someone else might think it's the other way around, might think, wow, if someone's going to London, it's all the razzle-dazzle, 24-hour, 365 days a year, living in the West End of London, living in the middle of London, and living like a celebrity where there's distractions, morning, day and night. I can understand that about major cities as well, especially at your age as well, where you want to go out and explore and do stuff, So, okay, what would what would be the ideal now, 4 years from now? So if you go next year to one of those 3,
mm-hmm.
Okay, you've got how many years at uni?
3.
Yeah, so that'd be 4 years from now that you would graduate, yeah?
Yeah.
So, okay, 4 years from now, where are you and what are you doing?
Studying, like, I want to be working in a form of physio,
Yeah,
but I'm not 100% sure whether I want to go into like musculoskeletal, or I've been really interested by learning and researching about the respiratory side of physiotherapy.
okay, yeah,
But also like the neurological side,
yeah,
just so it's not all muscles, bones,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
It's something else that I didn't realise was a part of physio,
mhm,
which I found really interesting since going to all these open days, learning about it, and also researching as well.
yeah,
So in some form of job somewhere doing physiotherapy, but I'm not sure which one, in what
Gotcha.
form yet.
yeah. Because possibly in respiratory, you could be working with ill patients in hospital,
Yeah,
whether it be private or the NHS, you know. If it's musculoskeletal, yes, you could be working in a hospital or a private clinic, but also you could be working in a physiotherapy practice, personal training centre, sports massage therapy clinic. You could work in any of those fields. In fact, there's an overlap of all three.
yeah,
I think possibly more in respiratory. Yes, maybe work with pro athletes, you know, cyclists, runners, swimmers, or something like that, and of course neurological as well. Ordinarily in with a patient in a practice or a hospital or something like that. Excellent.
yeah.
All right, that's 4 years from now,
hmm
and then the next 4 years is the Olympic Games in Brisbane.
Yeah,
2032.
yeah.
Yes. Hey, the numbers do add up. Okay, where are you in 2032 when the netball is in the Olympic Games in Brisbane?
There's always a thing going, oh, I'd like to be there.
Yeah,
But it's going, where am I at with my netball now? Knowing, I've just kind of always said, just see how far I can go with it, see how far I can go through with the England netball pathways, and then decide. But I'd hope that I'd still be enjoying my netball wherever, even if it was there, or if I'm still, even if it's just in my local netball league now,
sure. Yeah,
I'm just still enjoying it.
you would be 25 in 2032.
Yeah.
Yeah, 25 and a half. Okay.
So usually that'd be around, like, usually that's your peak
Yeah.
in netball. So
What a coincidence, eh? Yeah.
So depending on what opportunities there are over the next 8 years.
Yeah. Okay. If you could choose now, press it. You can't, but if you could,
Mhm.
press a button now and be where you want to be in 8 years from now. Yeah.
Mhm.
As audacious as it is, or the complete opposite, or as inconspicuous, what would you do? Where would you be?
Well, I'd always say I'd love to be in that squad
Yeah.
in that Olympic Games, but
You heard that.
who knows?
Yeah. You know. So let's say 8 years from now, Australia, Brisbane, netball's been brought in, and you're playing for the team, and you're 25
Mhm.
at your peak. Is that the peaking age in netball, or?
Yeah, it's usually from around like 23 to 28,
Yeah.
late 30s, somewhere. Early 30s, sorry, around there.
Okay. Interesting. If that happens, then okay, I'll say I was part of that journey. I'm just kidding. That'd be fantastic. Okay, right. Final thing. What have you learned about strength training working with me? And you know, say exactly what you want. If there's even negative points, I'd like to hear it because it's always educational for me. What have you learned?
I think it's been really beneficial. Definitely understanding the different ways of training. Like usually I go into my local gym and just go, well, there's the weights, or there's the cardio machines.
Yeah.
Whereas actually there's different ways to go about working different muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always like, who knew you could do a whole workout with just a resistance band.
Yeah.
So that's been really beneficial. And I've really enjoyed strength training and building up to not also having the knowledge but also knowing like my capabilities and where I can start now to then keep building and progressing.
Oh, good. Thanks very much. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed training as someone as young as yourself, and it was made it a little bit easier because you know I trained your mum last year and the year before, and Poppy's mum brought her into our centre, and actually I found it interesting because I knew nothing about netball. And I learned a bit from you throughout your training as well, listening to you, which is why I wanted to do this as well today. At the moment, I'm training I've been training another client's daughter who's 17, and she's training at a good level in hockey. So if I want to know anything about hockey, I could ask her. Equally, we've got a guy that comes to our centre who's been coming for, I think, 11, maybe 12 years now, who now plays in the 60s and overs, national men's team and some. So I've got to hear things about hockey from him, from the men's side, but also that age bracket as well. So we've got a 17-year-old netball player, and we've got 60-somethings that play hockey at a national level. And it's always interesting for me, I like hearing about it. Right, final roll call, which I do sometimes with clients that we get on the podcast. Nothing to do with netball now, okay? Normal life, all right? Who's your favourite pop star or singer or whatever you watch it? What's your go-to music?
I like Becky Hill.
Who's that?
It's like up on the scenes at the minute. Bit of pop, but not really. More like drum and bass.
Okay, Becky Hill.
Yeah.
Sounds like someone who works around the corner. Okay, so not Beyonce then, or I don't know, Adele. Becky Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, just remember that
dance
name.
Music.
Okay, next one. Okay, what's your box set? What are you watching on Netflix, Amazon, Google, Disney, whatever you call it?
Nothing at the minute. It's more I've been watching the Olympics, Paralympics. Just
is that started?
Yeah. I've just been. I always have something sport or football. Something's always on.
Yeah. What's your favourite meal that your mum makes, or you make?
My dad makes a really good steak, chips.
Your dad.
And everything like
that. Yeah. Steak and chips.
Like steak chips, like onion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of everything.
Super. Hey, well done, Dad. Okay. All right. If you could go on holiday tomorrow morning, if you could, anywhere in the world, where are you going? You're going with family, mum and dad, and sister.
I've always wanted to go to Canada. Mum's side of the family, they've got people that live over there.
Yeah.
So I've always said that's somewhere I'd love to go. Yeah,
I've been about 4 or 5 times myself. It's a great country. Matter of fact, one of our clients, husband and wife, and their son, they came back from Canada last week. They've got family.
Really?
If you've got family that live in those sort of countries, use that opportunity, because
exactly.
you've always got a house to go to. You ain't got to buy a hotel, pay for a hotel for 2 weeks. Okay, so Canada. So you go to a meal with steak and chips made by your dad. You could go tomorrow morning. You go to Canada. What's it, Rachel Hill? Becky Hill. Becky, okay. You watch Olympic Games and Paralympics. All right then. Okay. What's an absolute no-no? What is something that you would never do, work-wise, career-wise, or if a job opportunity came, something that's just not for you? That you may know someone who does, and you thought, never, not for me, no, thank you.
Couldn't be a vet.
A vet?
Could not be a vet. I don't like cats.
Oh, okay.
Don't like...
They deal with more things than cats.
No, I know, but I just couldn't... I like animals, but I couldn't
You couldn't cut one up?
No.
Yeah.
But I could... I always said to somebody, I'd love to be a doctor, but I couldn't give somebody a needle or anything.
Why's that?
I just don't... I feel like giving somebody it, seeing how my sister reacts to having a needle, let alone trying to deal with my sister, calm her down, letting somebody else. But I said I could always... give someone open heart surgery, that wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
I don't get squeamish, disgusted, anything like that.
All right.
But I couldn't do it on an animal, I don't think.
Okay, so a vet is a very it's a well recognised profession. It's got quite a high level of academia, and also emotional intelligence, even though we're dealing with animals, because they've got emotions as well. So you can eat steak from a cow, but you couldn't cut it up. So how'd you cut the steak up? Did your dad cut the steak up for you? I'm just kidding, by the way. All right then. Okay, that's it then, Poppy. We've got one more strength session to do, and then you're back at school when?
On Wednesday.
Yeah, is it called school? Still?
Yeah, sixth form.
Sixth form, yeah. And then university next year. Yeah, I wait to hear about that. It's going to be fantastic for you. I look forward to it. Okay, right, well, thanks for watching, and thanks for meeting my guest today, Poppy Pearson, netball extraordinaire, and hopefully one day you'll see her on TV 8 years from now. We'll see. And if we're not, you'll be in physiotherapy. Yeah. And you'll have a career working with bodies, yeah? But not animals.
No.
Okay. My name's Tristan Lowe, and it's the Over 40s Fitness Podcast, and this is...
Poppy Pearson.
All right, Poppy. Catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music or Apple Podcasts. Until the next one, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
My pleasure.